Howdy, this is Marissa with Marissa Moments. So you already know what day it is. It is Oracle Tuesday. So I hope you're ready for your reading because I'm ready to give it. Now I'm going to be using my personally made Marissa Moments Oracle deck. So without further ado, let's go on ahead and shuffle. I'm going to speed that up because you ain't got time for that. Let's go. Lord, please provide clarity, wisdom, guidance, clarity. Oh, okay, here we go. Okay, did y'all see that whole stack just jump out? It was like, I'm ready. That took no time at all. That never happens, but we'll get into it. Let's go ahead and list this out first. Your love is expansive. You express it daily. Challenge your false beliefs. Stop creating distractions and then complaining about work. Dang. Okay, here we go. You are not running out of time. Spirit is really talking today. Stop speaking to the past. It has nothing new to say. And then you do not have to sustain an outdated system. And last but not least, y'all, we got bottom of the deck energy is your programming is telling you to anticipate failure. It's lying. All right, so let's get into this because, I'm already seeing a whole message for me and I'm excited, right? Because this is for me, this is for you, this is for we, right? Now, your love is expansive, express it, you express it daily. What I receive is that wake up grateful, right? Because what I'm hearing is that you do wake up grateful, right? But then throughout the day, you got people that come along and they're just like, poo-pooing on your gratitude and your sunshine is what I say. Oh, they're trying to like eclipse the sun, right? They're trying to overtake you and overshadow you and all those things. But what Spirit is saying is like, nah, we're not doing that anymore. We're out of that period. What I see is almost like a whole space on a timeline, right? That's a long stretch of time where you would have been like, I'm feeling happy, but just because somebody wants to bring their bad mood and dark energy and all those things to me, I'm going to go on ahead and let them. I'm going to give them space. But not only would you give them space, you would also absorb it from them. So they would walk away feeling so energetic. They would absorb your light, right? Meanwhile, you're absorbing their darkness. And what Spirit is saying is like, no, we're not doing that anymore. Express that love, express that sunshine, express that gratitude without feeling like you got to shrink yourself just because certain people can't accept you for how you are, right? Because they want to sit in their sorrows. Meanwhile, you are the sun shining. Keep shining. Challenge your false beliefs. What I'm seeing in terms of this reading is there's a lot of things that are going on in your head. It's almost like an internal conflict, right? I'm seeing like butting heads with yourself in terms of your ascension, in terms of your goals, in terms of what you are telling yourself now, like you're overriding your former programming, right? You're overriding it with that sunshine as opposed to that darkness that you were accustomed to having to adapt to. And I hear Bane, you merely came into the darkness. I was born into it. Y'all, I mess up quotes all the time. I might put it in there. I don't know. But listen, challenge those false beliefs. You do not have to absorb other people's darkness to make them feel better about themselves. You do not have to shrink yourself in order for someone else to feel larger. That's giving them a false expectation, false hope, false sense of self, really, because they're not actually as big as they think they are. That's why, okay, Spirit, that's what Spirit is like. That's why they got a big head, right? That's why they have a big head is because you continue to shrink yourself in their presence. So now they walk off thinking, yeah, I'm that person. Yeah, I'm that man. Yeah, I'm that woman. Meanwhile, it's because actually they haven't been in the presence of the fullness of you. Oh, Spirit is speaking. Okay. Stop creating distractions and then complaining about work. Listen, so what I'm receiving behind this is oftentimes, especially even when it comes to being in the presence of others that want to absorb your light and give you their darkness, you have a habit of going into that victim mentality, right? Where you're like, well, I would, but so-and-so keeps doing this or so-and-so keeps doing that, or they say this and then I got to do that. No. What Spirit is saying is like, no, 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 sir, no, ma'am, no, he, no, she, no, they, right? What you have to do, you don't have to, but choose to do it anyway, is stop allowing those excuses to take over the place and space where you know you need to be. It's almost like you're using it as a filler, right? And that is in self, oh, what are words? That is in and of itself becoming a distraction to you. That victim mentality, all of those things, having to cater to your audience, having to cater to anyone who comes around you and adapt to them is not only shrinking you and giving them a sense of false hope and a sense of false self, but it is creating distractions from what you're actually supposed to be doing. Listen. And then you're like, man, I don't got time to do anything because I got to go heal all these people and I got to stand in the gap for all these people and do all these things, right? You're not running out of time. You're not running out of time. But if you continue to allow those distractions to fill in that gap and not get things done, then guess what? You just might. You just might. But at this place and stage, you are not running out of time. Stop telling yourself that you're too old for this, or I'm too old for that, or you're set in your ways and you can't adapt, you can't learn, you can't grow, you can't adjust. That is a false notion. Stop, take out all those false beliefs that you are now too old or that ship has sailed or whatever else you tell yourself, and remind yourself every day, look in that mirror and say, I'm not out of time. I'm in my prime, right? Every single day, every single second, every single moment is an opportunity to step into your fullness and your potential and your purpose and destiny and all those other ways that we say basically the same thing. Now, let's catch our breath, shall we? Stop speaking to the past. It has nothing new to say. What I see is like you almost keep going over these past scenarios, right? Like, man, I really should have said this. I really should have said that. And what Spirit wants me to clarify is that this doesn't have to be 10 years ago, right? This doesn't have to be what happened to you in a former life. This can be what happened 5 minutes ago. It has nothing new to say. Whatever has happened has already happened. Sure, you may have to go through processing it in your mind mentally to move through it, right? To heal it, to move beyond it. But once you start playing that scenario over and over and creating new situations, new dialogues, start reading into the other players' words and all that type of stuff, then listen, you're talking to the past. And guess what? It has nothing new to say. So move on, move on, move on, move on. All right. And you do not have to sustain an outdated system. Now, this is a summation of all of these cards, right? Stop going to the things that you were trained up to do, those toxic patterns, those generational curses, that toxic programming, all of those things that you know don't even sit well with you. When you think about it, it kind of gives you a tummy ache, right? You're like, oh, my stomach, I can't believe, no, all those things, right? You don't have to sustain that outdated system. You don't have to continue that pattern. You can choose consciously, mindfully to break those proverbial chains and to say, I'm switching up the game, right? Because it has to start with someone, and why not let that someone be you? Bottom of the deck, your programming is telling you to anticipate failure, and it's lying. It's lying. What I receive is that a lot of like the adults in your life coming up have told you like, this ain't gonna work. It's not going to work. Or what happens is you have a notion that's put on your heart by God, by Gaia, ancestors, angels, and saints, and you go and talk to somebody, right? You go confide in someone, and they're like, well, that sounds good, but how you gonna do this? Or what about that? You know, so-and-so tried to do that and it didn't work out. You know, so-and-so lost all their money behind that, you know, and it's like, that's a false notion. You need to stay away from those naysayers. Like, it's one thing to be around somebody who's going to speak like reality, right? Like reality in terms of how the logistics, how are we going to get things done? But it changes and it becomes toxic when that reality is more so fear-based. You're not going to be able to get things done. You know, you have to do this, and this. How you going to do that? Do you see the difference? Instead of saying, these are what the steps that you need to do in order to accomplish this. How can I help you make this happen? Let's start troubleshooting and thinking of ways that we can overcome any potential problems, right? You see the difference. And those are the people that you need to get behind and have on your team. And if someone is not speaking life into whatever it is that you are dreaming and manifesting and working on, I don't care if it's a meal that you're cooking on the stove. If they are poo-pooing your recipe, then they don't need to be there. You don't need that negativity in your life. I mean, if you wanted to be there, if it's funny to you, if you're like, oh, it's just Joey, that's how he is, right? Then fine, that's your life. Live it. Live it how you give it how you live it, right? But overall, that toxic programming, it's a lie. Stop anticipating failure, because also too, what Spirit is saying is that that's a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? You are anticipating the failure. So now you're going to take those necessary steps in order to actually fail, just so you can be like, aha, I knew it wasn't going to work, right? But it's because you're allowing your distractions to come in. You're telling yourself that you're running out of time. You're going over and over these old scenarios without trying to find a new solution. All those things. You're still chiming into your old false programming. And then you're trying to sustain an outdated system. It's time to switch up the game. It's time to switch up the game, because this is your time. But guess what? It's only your time if you choose it to be and if you take action on it. So, let's take a breath. Let's cleanse that, because I know that energy was like crazy. But I want to light a little fire under your feet, because you've got this. Just keep going. Keep moving ahead. Stop dealing with the past. Stop dealing with the people who make you feel like poop in their absence as soon as they walk away. Stop dealing with the people who are stifling you and making you feel like you can't breathe and you can't succeed. Those are not your people. Those are just lessons. Those are lessons. And in that sense, they are blessings. The lessons are blessings. But it's time to move ahead, and it's time to switch your mentality and remind yourself that you can do it. You can, and you will. So that's it. Apples and tomatoes. Thanks for watching. I always love sharing these messages, because Spirit don't be playing around. So hopefully you got your good word. Hopefully you've got a little liar. Hello. You got to stay away from them little liars. But hopefully you have a little fire under your feet and under your tush. So you are going to get moving, get active, make this week the best week so far. And that's it. So thanks for watching, and bye.